When the moon hits your eye like a Rocky and Russo pizza pie, it's salty and weird like balls.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's how we start this Monday night with the little Roosaroni right before we kick it off.
Whoa, did Rocky just go underwater? What happened?
Bro,
You there?
wow.
What was that?
I was getting feed. Yeah. Wow. Can you
It
hear
was
me?
like a time warp. What just happened? You okay? You good? Is he okay?
Okay, Casey, please tell me you're messing with us, bro. I'm gonna you're stressing, bro.
No, it's still happening in your voice. We were just having a conversation, and now it's like you sound like this. It literally is. It's a cross between being underwater and the noise a first blowjob makes. It's somewhere right in between those two noises.
Russo's very good at those first blowjobs.
What? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Here, talk again. Give it a little mic check. Mic check. Let me hear you, Rock. You could do it. No, totally muted. We were having a full-blown conversation. So here's where we're going to start. We're going to go, Casey, what's going on in your world while Rocky appears to have another hernia right now? Nope, still can't hear you, Rock. Anyways, Case, what's going on?
I know.
Oh, wait, he's back.
Dang it. I had my YouTube open.
Oh, man.
Scintillating live radio. Welcome Monday night.
God, it was, I was enjoying it, but it definitely sounded like you switched to the other team, which is totally fine. I'm completely okay with that. What? Now, if we were Hamas, you probably would not okay with the whole underwater blowjob thing. I just got to throw that out there.
Oh, bro. With what? Hamas in the same sentence?
Hamas and blowies? And gay blowies? There's a lot to it. We're starting out hot.
You know, we're talking about priorities in Russo's world. Blowjobs and Hamas.
Because it's funny because it's the same people that'll throw gay people off a bridge will be the same one to go F a goat. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a confusing hypocrisy. I don't get it.
Don't worry, you go to the promised land. You go to heaven if you fuck a goat. You do. Oh. He's like, I'm out. I'm out.
Stressing me out. Boys, what's going on? It's Monday night. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, The Rocky Russo Experience. We have Anthony Russo. We have brother KC and the meatball right here. We're going to get deep. I seen a little conversation earlier between Russo and KC. And Russo, his response every time, I'm saving it for the show.
Right.
It was a good.
He keeps saying that, and then he lets everybody down for the show. Well, so that's just what it is.
Why'd I let everybody down before the show?
Oh, yeah. Why?
What do you mean, Casey?
Yeah, bro.
Because we know who you are, Russo. We just know you.
I am. You're right. I'm half Jewish. That's what I am. You know, we're going to get right into it, but all I can tell you is there is a reason why I have gone back to my full belief system. That's because I gave the other side a chance. And it's the typical BS. And the people that I trust in media that I follow, and again, I still believe it's a nuanced subject. And I think there's more than meets the eye. But at the end of the damn day, I have to actually take a specific side. And that's my whole point. That's it. And but before we even get into the topics, I am completely okay with somebody having a difference in opinion if they are on the, like Ian Wentz, that kind of concept, like this is a globalist play. This is it. I think we should keep our nose completely. I feel bad for the Palestinian people. I think Israel, I think all this stuff. I don't want to take a side. I'm completely fine with that. That's an opinion. Now, anybody that is like out there marching with like the pro-Palestine movement and siding with those people that we've always truly, truly hated with the squad, that's the opposing side on this one. So I think there's two sides that are okay, which is hands off. I don't know what side is truly at the top of this, and the pro-Israel side. The other side, piss off.
To kind of support this whole, when I watched Minneapolis burn, man, I watched it, but I watched the individuals. There was so many freaking young white people out there that were burning buildings down. and they didn't know why, right? I think my biggest fear, and so I love having conversations. I enjoyed watching you and Casey. You and Casey don't align on everything. Us three don't align. I think that's the kind of beautiful dynamic about this. But my biggest concern, especially in our day and age, in our world, in our country, man, is some of these kids, they're kids, man. They're out there, they're protesting, they're lighting shit on fire, they're doing peel outs, just creating mass chaos. And they could not tell you one legitimate reason statistically why they're actually out there saying fuck the government. You know what I mean? I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't. Do we have any good news to start the day?
Yeah, actually, let's do that. Can I say something real quick?
Let's start with the positive news stories, not news stories, positive life story, whatever, positive stories, and then we'll get into the BS.
Thank you. You know what? I was thinking about throwing this out there. I was going to talk to you before the show, and ADHD kicked in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Saturday, guys, you guys probably saw it. I went out and I emceed the Cast for Kids event. Folks, and again, if you don't know, this is something Russo and I were talking about earlier today. We're going to be creating some bios and stuff. If you guys are looking for some MCs, man, see that guy right there? Did you not watch what happened on Saturday? If you do not want to do what he does, then you ain't normal. You know what I mean? No, Saturday was the Cast for Kids. Now, the reason why this event was really important, and typically I would not have gone because of my condition, but last year, it was 1 year and 2 weeks ago. Exactly. 1 year, 2 weeks ago, last Saturday is when I actually got the original injury at the event. I had to leave the event early because I got super sick. I couldn't interview two kids. And then all this happened. You guys heard all the run up to this surgery. It took forever, last minute stuff. And then I had my surgery just a little over a week ago. And Saturday, just this Saturday, past Saturday, was the Cast for Kids event. And I showed up.
Can I, Rocky, just so you know, when you said condition and the way that you said it quickly, I thought you said Casper Kids, and I thought your condition was being afraid of ghosts. Just so you know, that's how I took it at first. So to clarify, it's Cast for Kids, and we're not putting casts on their arms. They're fishing. I just want to specify because people out there might think you're afraid of kids with white sheets on their head, not the ones that are hanging up black people back in the 1960s, like the KKK. No, not like that. Just children, but no, it's Cast golf or the line. Casey, what were you gonna say? Go ahead, and then we'll go back to Rocky.
You said all of that, but you left Joe Biden's best friend out that he had actually had while he was in as a senator. Oh, okay, that's fine.
True story. Yeah,
true story. And he mutes himself.
Sorry, Rock. You were talking about the bookends. Or sorry, go ahead. I'll let you just finish. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Your look. No, this was so personal, and thank you to the parents, man. Thank you to the parents that came up and chewed my ass out. You know, I appreciate it because a lot of people with special needs, they understand ailments and injuries. And I just want to say something, and this is for everybody. We've all been through shit in our life, man. We've been through so many struggles, and I'm sick of losing. You know, I'm sick of having to take a left and a right, or I'm sick of jumping over humps and hurdles and obstacles, and I'm sick of enough just being a fucking enough. I'm sick of it. And so that's why this event was crucial to me, because I felt like this last year I've been cursed, man. This was my third surgery in 1 year over the same thing. And I lost my mind. I fell into a chronic depression. What 99% of the people in the world don't know is the fight I fucking struggled in my own home, because it's not the world's business, right? Meaning that I don't want to emit that bad energy all the time. I already feel like I talk about it enough, but I had to show up. And I got to tell you something, man. When you see the look on those children's faces, when they see the meatball show up, man, when they see that they're going to be glorious, they're going to be superstars, they're going to get a video, they're going to get an interview. When I see that from a child that I've only met a few times, it reminds me that this world isn't all that bad. But I plead to you folks, man, listen. Real life shit right here. Every single day we're up against that obstacle. It's that Adam and Eve apple. It always looks so good and we always want to bite it. But don't give up on something you believe in. If it takes you a fucking year, if it takes you 2 years, it don't matter how long it takes. Do not go to your grave with a list full of regrets. It was so damn important for me to close that chapter. It was spiritually fulfilling. And I hope that those kids, man, I'll tell you something. When you announce for children with special needs, I don't like the word special needs, because special needs to me isn't a program. It should be a priority. It should be a national priority. But when you're able to hang out with these kids, and I'm goofy as shit. And when I'm able to go out there and go crazy with my imagination and say the weird things I do and act all goofy and feel 100,000% inclusive and accepted, no judgment at all, we lost that in our world. And it's the special needs communities that's going to re-educate society on how to be a good person. So, man, that was a beautiful moment. And everybody who supported me through this entire year and this whole process and closing that out last Saturday, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, it's interesting you bring up the word special needs. I'm going to completely change the subject because, you know, I always say my dad was handicapped. At the beginning of the pandemic, when I was getting all the political back and forth, I remember I posted something about, I said to somebody who was talking about, you don't understand what it's like to be a black person. I said, well, I get that, but at the same time, if we use that as an excuse, then you don't understand what it's like to have a handicapped father. To which somebody blew up on my page and was like, the fact that you said handicap instead of disabled proves to me that you did not have a handicapped father. I'm like, or did not have a disabled father. And they're asking for proof.
Oh.
And I'm like, I was so bamboozled and angry by it that I got so invested that they're like, send pictures of your father. And I'm like, my dad died before there was digital cameras. So I'd have to go and like find storage. And it didn't matter. Like, this guy was just pushing. And I realized he did it just because he was a miserable son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's most of them are. Most of those people that you haven't talked to or never met, the only time you ever see them is when they want to attack you by what language your ass chose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I got a message for them.
Yeah. It was weird to me. It was the most triggered I've ever gotten. And it was so frustrating to me. But at the same token, as somebody with a handicapped dad growing up, what you do and what, you know, we're planning on doing, I think on the 30th, it's interesting to me. It's very difficult. Like, I always feel guilty when Special Olympics came to my high school. I always felt super, super guilty because I wasn't comfortable with it, because I saw what I believe was their struggles, and knowing firsthand, like with my dad, it was very different because, you know, special needs or exceptional kids, like somebody put in the comment section. It's different because at least my dad didn't become handicapped till he was 40. So I just felt it was very difficult for me to do it. That was where, as somebody that's like you, that wants to be out there and helping, I always wanted to be behind the scenes on that. It took me decades to get more comfortable to start working more with in the front of special needs kids. So I applaud what you do with that. And I know that is one of your, if not your biggest driving factor. So that's awesome.
It is. You know what? I want to make a lot of my wrongs right. I don't want to get too philosophical here. I want to get into some detail, but get into some subjects. But I just, you know, dude, I talk about my past viciously, and I talk about the things I've done. And, you know, we heal, we move on, but they never go away. And I just always have this thing is that I don't want to be that guy, man. I don't want to be remembered as that piece of shit. You know, I just want to be remembered as a guy who at least tried. And I find myself gravitating towards the right people. And this is where I'm at. You know, I don't know. They said Russo. I says, who's this guy you're talking about? I don't know. I don't know if I want to like him, you know?
Feel that.
We still question that every day. So that's okay.
What the F was going on with you two going at one another's throats today in our little private chat?
That wasn't us going at each other's throats. That was us. That was Casey. Casey knows how to smack talk where it gets under. Well, it doesn't get under my skin. See, the thing is, if it was anybody else, it would get under my skin. Casey knows that he's very good at chiding. I think it's a gift of people that are under 5'7". They're just really good at poking little jabs.
Hey, I have lifters. I'm going to be like DeSantis, and I'll be 6'10" tomorrow. Okay.
What are lifters?
In his shoes.
There's really people are that insecure with their height that they put like a 1/4 inch in their shoe.
That's mean to say that to Casey, because he uses that. He's not insecure with his height, but he likes to wear heels. He likes to cross dress.
I call them stilts.
Stilts. I use the lifts in the backside. I actually slide those same lifts underneath the shaft of my pee-pee. And it creates an extra spacer that gives it a little bit. It's very painful to cut the slit in there, though, at the top. What? What'd I say? No?
And slit in the same sentence, dude. That is not feeling good in my balls right now.
What?
Yeah, I put one of those icy patches on the area right above.
The hernia, to be clear with everybody's wondering what you're talking about.
I didn't know if I should say it or not. Yeah, I put it. It was right here. And my right testicle got cold.
So does that make it go back like up in? Like the
Are you asking if it's an innie or an outie? Is that what you're saying?
So that part is connected to the testy. My third hernia was one connected to the testy. So I've been feeling like I'm having somebody crutch my right nut with the pliers for about the last 3 weeks.
interesting.
So yeah, but it's up here. It's to the right side of your belly button, and that's where it actually is. And so I put a patch on it because it hurt so bad yesterday because I was pretty beat up from that event.
So you had an eye patch on your third testicle?
No, icy patch.
Oh, an icy patch. Got it.
An eye patch on my testicle.
When you're about to make love, your penis goes "arr."
What?
Arr. Oh man.
All right.
Anyways.
So what is this lack of accountability, this lack of understanding? When we look at our society and we constantly hear media tell us about all the effing problems that we have, even though that we can have the conversations of the root causes, we don't want to address the root causes of society. We want to address the end causes and rebel on those. What has happened, and is there accountability when it comes to when we have a CNN, a Fox News, and MSNBC, when we have these agencies that claim to be news, not opinionated news, and they are distributing propaganda? This propaganda goes into these young, vulnerable minds. These young, vulnerable minds become little baby psychopaths, little entitled little shits. And they go burn cities and harass people, and they have no value or concept of respect, morality, or life. Where's the accountability factor when it comes to where society has gone? Allowing one sect of protesters to destroy, burn, pillage, and rape, and other protesters, they literally cannot sneeze without getting a violation.
Well, we're talking about the dual insurrection, obviously.
You saw that.
Yeah, I saw that coming. Before we get hard into the topic, make sure you guys know that we're not just on YouTube, Facebook, we're on Spreely TV, OpsLens. Spreely is where, that's helping us actually grow our following in terms of something a little bit different. Same with OpsLens. Rocky said we're one of the top shows on there. So make sure you are downloading these options, because that's going to keep us. We'll keep going as much as we can on the regular stuff between Truth Will Set You Free and Rocky Russo Experience. But just know that's this whole system, what we're working on. And for those of you new to this show on my channel, on Truth Will Set You Free on our channel, know that this is not the typical structured show. We talk about serious topics, but we do have a little bit of fun at the exact same time. So today's main topic, are we not doing a call in today? No call in?
No call in. But you know what's really cool about the two platforms is that Spreely TV is really hardcore US based type of politics, right?
Yeah.
OpsLens, Ron Hammond is the owner of OpsLens. This is global news. Now, Ron Hammond is very well distributed, connected throughout the world. Now, what OpsLens does is they bring in all the news from around the world, unfiltered. It comes in, gets translated, and you get the actual real story. So it's not filtered by any of these mainstream propagandists in our country. You get a 30-day trial by going to the opslens.com and then click the world view. Click on that and get the 30-day trial. Try it out. Let me know. I'm going to tell you something. If we are true about real information, we need to get the unbiased and unfiltered news. So OpsLens and Spreely, man, we are home, and we thank both of you guys so much.
Yeah. And I think, and this will lead into the topic, I think unbiased is very difficult. And I think that's the problem. Like you said, we have two different sets of programming in this country, and that can shift at any given time. Like that's why the fear should be instilled into the ultra leftist side is going, just so you know, if the tables are turned and the Jim Jordans and Matt Getzes of the world end up running the government, and then we go full red, we hope that you're not in trouble. We actually believe in the First Amendment, but at any given point, if the rules are changed now, they could be changed for you later. And seeing kind of what's going on and why this whole discussion between Casey and I started out in our group chat is I started realizing that this situation, and I want to be also very clear up front, Casey is right. The number one issue we should have is our own country, is our own borders. And the thing is, this topic ties to our own borders because there is a lot of these pro-Hamas coming across. And Rocky, I don't believe that these students that are protesting and tearing down cities, the thing is, they've been programmed to follow. These are not leaders, which means Who are the fire starters? These kids are matches in a matchbox waiting to get lit up. Now, the globalist, the elitist, the anti-American, that's a big play. That is a bigger situation than this, plain and simple. But at the same time, if we continue to not allow the information to really talk about Israel, Hamas, to not talk about it, I think we're allowing those followers to just let themselves be lit on fire instead of detach themselves from the fire starter. That's my preface.
That's what I say when we talk about when you talk about the fire starters and we talk about these younger generations that literally are low hanging fruit, but they're the ones that are the most destructive. That's the question. Is it embedded within our educational system? Why out of nowhere do we have all these communistic style Marxist professors in universities? They've always been there? And I'm just now noticing the last 5-6 years. How did all this happen so quickly underneath our eyes?
It's not quickly, but Casey, go ahead to what you were about to say.
No, I'm leaning that same way. It's not that quickly. I think it's slowly been there, but a lot of people go asleep and start just falling into their daily regimen and not paying attention to those things. And that is where a lot of my focus right now is pointing out, look at where everybody's talking about Hamas and Israel, but no one is talking about our government's going to not have funding in just over 2 weeks. That's going to be shut down. We don't have Speaker of the House to encourage those conversations to happen. So that's going to sit there. We just had Joe Biden have documentation released that he received a $200,000 payment from his brother that need to be investigated and looked into and put into the public, but we don't have a Speaker of the House to really push to have that done. All of these things gone.
I agree. Now, to Thomas's comment, not programmed, bought and trained, and kind of disagreeing with us, and it's a valid thought. Bought and trained. Here's the thing: I think the bought and trained portion is very, very small. It doesn't take much. I said this during the George Floyd riots. You just need, and by the way, there's more information coming out about the George Floyd case that's pretty mind-boggling as well, talking about the fact that the doctor that performed the autopsy is saying that he was essentially pressured into saying it was asphyxiation. I think that's fascinating. That's not getting any coverage, and how the fact this police officer is still incarcerated. Again, not a great police officer. I don't disagree, but come on.
Hey, do you want to get one of the attorneys for one of the defenses on the program?
Sure, if we can, absolutely.
My cousin, so I got it taken care of.
Oh, nice. All right, we'll get him on, because I mean, and I think I've told you this, but our Cash is in prison with one of the. It rhymes with Oven, but anyways, oh yeah, yeah. But I don't think the masses that are the ones doing the damage, the 300 people that were arrested and had a $50 bail at the Capitol, when at the newest version of an insurrection, which actually was closer to an insurrection.
Oh yeah,
it was planned. So it's a difference. They planned on going in there, and they were led by was it Tlaib that led him? Whatever. Regardless, the thing is, the bought and paid for people are the ones like a Rashida Tlaib and the couple people that lead them in. The rest have been programmed to follow the newest thing. And the newest thing is kowtowing to terrorists. And this is why I decided it was very important for me to make sure I made my belief system found. And I also got very frustrated with the Palestinian people that I've been talking to. Besides my friend, she just is too busy, and this isn't really her wheelhouse. But the Palestinian people had a chance to own up to the hospital, which I am not going to confirm because it's all propaganda. I'm not going to confirm that it wasn't Israel. I'm not going to confirm that it was Hamas or anything like that. And I'm not going to believe a recorded tape that sounds like it could be bullshit. I'm not going to believe any of that. But what I will believe is the fact the hospital wasn't actually blown up, and they can't even admit that. They're like, well, do you know what the other atrocities? So I'm like, all right, I got to take a side. I'm sorry. I'm done. Oh, I can't come talk. My family, I'm sorry. It's BS. But the thing that I realized a couple days ago is all of these pro-Palestinian protests and marches, It's literally, these people had no friggin' clue what was going on in Gaza 3 weeks ago, had no idea what was going on with the Palestinian people, had no care. They weren't typing it. They weren't. So what are they doing? They're actually responding to support the Palestinian people based on a terrorist activity that was committed by Hamas. And yes, there's propaganda, but it happened. It factually happened. There is enough people that by 1 or 2 degrees of separation know somebody there was a part of it. There's enough video shown. And you know what? Everybody going, maybe it wasn't that bad. Hamas is literally celebrating that they were raping and killing people. So it happened. It happened. It happened. It happened. Casey, I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, are we sure those are real people from Hamas? Is that what you're going to say?
Come on, go.
That's part of it. So
Go ahead.
notice, where's Antifa right now?
Protesting with these alt-lefters for the Palestinian movement.
Are they just playing in and playing the game?
Yeah, because a lot of them are paid.
Correct. So is it really Palestinians that are protesting or people that are trying to make the system's game plan show up?
No, it's again, like I said, it's people that are trying to make the plan show up, but then all of the programming and all of the, I'm not going to call these people innocent college students that are like, we need to go march on behalf of Palestine. They're not innocent. They're just because they're programmed. It doesn't mean anything. Just because somebody is stupid and they kill somebody, and again, that's an extreme instance, doesn't make them innocent.
Well, but did these people do any harm?
The pro-Palestinian protesters?
Yes.
Physically,
did they
no.
cause any damage or hurt anybody?
Physically, no.
So did they do anything wrong at using their voice and protesting?
And that's the First Amendment thing. I completely think that it is okay I think it goes along with the Constitution. I said this in our text. Yeah, it's First Amendment.
Right.
Well, hold on though. Let me add this really quick though. I mean, because here's us right here saying yes. What they were saying was vile, ruthless, and disgusting, but they had the First Amendment right to say it, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we get the same trade? You know, we talk about the First Amendment Constitution, but we have social media that is forced programming people to think and act differently, and they don't even realize it. People are afraid to post things on social media now because they're afraid they're going to get kicked off social media.
Well, I can tell you the reason why. We are white males in America and American-born citizens. We don't get those rights. We don't get them.
Just no more, man. I don't.
But when it comes to this situation, my thing is are they protesting in ignorance? Absolutely. Yeah. I don't believe they have the information to be able to go out and do what they are doing. But until they are causing harm or anything like that, you do you. Like, there's no reason for that.
This is what I would expect the pro-Palestinian people to be super pissed off at right now. They should be pissed off at Hamas for doing what they did, for starting the war that they did, because now the retaliatory action is getting their ass whooped. So they should be pissed off at Hamas for starting this shit, not Israel.
I honestly think that they have been pissed off at them, but they needed a reason to get going.
Are they too afraid?
So this is starting.
Afraid to protest against them? Do you think it's that?
They don't have freedom of speech in Gaza. Palestinians do in different parts of including in Israel, they do. I mean, like, yeah, they're probably looked down upon in some ways in a lot of places, but they do. If the ones that live in Israel, but by the way, historically, Palestinians' lineage traces back to Jews centuries ago, but whatever. They do have the freedom of speech. In Gaza, they do not. They are under Hamas rule. So that's what people are also using to say it's unfair that these people are being killed. As I said last week, I empathize with that. I sympathize with that. But at this point, what do you do? And it's again, and also to Casey's point, I don't necessarily, and I hate to say this, I don't care what exactly is happening there, except for the fact that I know the fire starter was over 1,000 Jewish people being killed, kidnapped, etc., and we still can't get them to give up. That's the other thing. If Hamas were to give up their hostages right now, then all this bombing would stop. So I don't know why we're blaming Israel. And again, this is not our most important topic, except for the fact that Biden should not be sending $100 million to Palestine, and he should not be adding our military forces and finances to Israel. We give enough. Now, I still agree with putting our ships nearby just in case Iran decides to strike. I agree with it. That's part of being the strongest military in the world. That's a positioning situation. But when it comes to what exactly is happening, we leave it alone. And now Biden's giving, because I'm sure Palestine, who is essentially has a puppet of Iran, I'm sure the Palestinian people are going to get that for what they need. No, it's that $100 million is not going to go to humanitarian aid. It's going to go to more shit to go blow up Israel and keep the fight going, because clearly both sides wanted it. I don't believe, we've said this on the last couple episodes, I don't believe Hamas would have gotten through the cracks from an intelligence perspective without somebody in Israel's high government wanting this to happen, so they had an excuse to do what they're doing. And at the same time, Hamas and Palestine wanted it to happen. So I think across the board, they wanted it to happen. They know, look at it, why? $100 million going to Palestine, more billions more going to Israel. It's bullshit.
Can we pose a question?
Yes.
Did they want it to happen, or did the U.S. government want it to happen?
Don't know.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to get a little conspiratorial? I'm going to say that this probably has the dirty blood hands of our agencies here in the United States that started this bullshit like we do everywhere else.
Right.
Absolutely. Can I answer C, all of the above?
Yeah. That is perfectly fine. The part that we have to start acknowledging is, in the US, we play a huge part in this. Like, we have a comment from Miss Melissa. She was even saying, we are funding both sides. What the hell? And that is true. And that is true in a lot of scenarios, in a lot of wars that the US gets sucked into for the last century. Like, we have to stop looking at these things as in it's us versus them. You have to start looking at who is involved on each side and consider it equally.
I mean, how many people knew that the Bush family, when they were running the Bank of New York, how many people know that the Bush family actually funded Hitler building all the railroad tracks for the Jews?
I didn't know that.
We funded that. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Wow.
Yes, we did. Bank of New York. It was Daddy Bush, like the
Bush Senior's father.
Yep. Yeah, they funded it, man. They funded Hitler to build the railroads to haul Jews to their demise. Yeah, that's
Wait a minute. Would that mean Donald Trump's grandfather was the Secretary of Defense during that same time?
I think it was after.
Oh.
I don't know about that. I think it was after, because I think it was in the 50s.
I got to connect those dots now. Sorry, you just triggered a thought.
Yeah, I did. I saw that, bro. You all right?
So to Ronnie Dyer's comment says Bibi was out for a while. Benjamin Netanyahu was out for a while, and the reason he was, some reason he was brought back in. There's a lot of negative things people have said about him. Who knows? And he doesn't have full support of the Israeli people either. Totally understand that. As for the question regarding where was it? How did where did all those paragliders launch from? They launched from inside of Israel. So that's part of the tunnels that are dug in Gaza, the underground system. That's how they launched it, from this kind of rudimentary attack. They first infiltrated Israel from underground, and then they all coordinated at the same time, essentially.
Think about this, man. Think of all the technology we have that we brag about, all these jets that we have, these badass missiles. But then you think about the goat herding community. You have the Afghanistans who whooped the shit out of Russia, who ripped the shit out of us, who ripped the shit out of anybody else who walked into Afghanistan. And then you go into Iraq, and you go into Syria, you go into Turkey. This is all tribal warfare, man. This is a whole different type of war. And so when I sit here and I have this pseudo confidence that, man, we're the effing United States, we got the best shit in the world. Yeah. How did that work in Afghanistan? You know what I mean? We had a tough ass time trying to get some of those son of a bitches in a cave. I'm nervous, man. I'm just nervous that our overconfident mentality here in the United States is going to rub off in the wrong way. And all these countries that we got involved with, and all these countries that we burned, robbed, and pissed off, or murdered, or assassinated their presidents, they're going to shut their borders on us. And the day is going to come where the United States is going to become one big pile of shit, really. Say it. Say it. Say it. You disagree. Say it. I feel it.
I do disagree. The reason why is I believe in Americans. I don't think we will let that happen. I believe that we will see a revival in our country.
Brother, I believe in Americans too, but I never thought I'd see what's happening right now.
No,
yeah,
100%.
I believed in Americans.
That's exactly it.
But I still believe in the people that are seeking the truth. There's enough of them that are fed up with what's going on in the government, especially today, that when we get to that tipping point, there will be enough people coming together to fix it.
We can hope. I had a conversation this weekend. One of the good, positives of the weekend. I typically don't talk about politics at work. I know better because this is the only job that allows me to even have a platform like this and do this where I don't make any money. At this time, we will. But it was a guy that I didn't know he knew my politics. I guess like a whisper had gotten through, and we started talking about the situation because there was a sign in the crowd at work. The two people, Free Palestine, two guys wearing a mask, and they were the only ones refusing to take their signs down. Thankfully, we actually got audience since we can't, I've seen us take away any right-wing signs immediately. It's just a different world. And I think they understand that. Like it says Trump, we rip it. I've seen it get ripped away, right? This one was a little bit different. And I'm like, the problem is that this is such a contentious issue. There is no positive of having this in the background on TV, but they couldn't take it away because people are like, this needs to be front and center. And they were like, what is this doing for the people of Palestine to be on the back of a sports, video? So anyways, there ended up being fans that were like, hook me up with a t-shirt. I got you. And they just, and ripped it away. Awesome, by the way. They're the MVPs. I didn't even know that's what happened till later. I would have hooked them up with even more. But it caused me to have a conversation with a guy I worked with who is on the complete opposite side of the political coin. And we had an hour discussion just about the fact that although we disagree on a lot of topics, the to your white pill side on this one, Rocky, or gold pill side is thinking that maybe the 20% fringes are going to always stay there, but maybe we're going to start galvanizing the middle to start going, guys, shit. Everyone is lying. Like, yes, I hated Fox, but I'm realizing CNN sucks. Or, I hated CNN, but man, Fox is a little iffy. Mm-hmm. So maybe with all of the things going on, this might be the only hope that, like what Casey said, and because I'm more on the, I don't know anymore, but having that conversation and being able to say, maybe we can go back in time 15 years and go to the water cooler and be like, oh, you like Bush? Oh, you like Romney? You liked Obama? Oh, well, yeah. Well, let's go get a beer later, which it's just not like that anymore. If anybody is strongly politically minded, you're not friends with them anymore. You're not dating them anymore. There is none of that intermixing, not of races, but intermixing of politics. So maybe we're getting to that that white pilled point. I don't know.
So let me start with the phrase that should reinvigorate everyone. Would you guys fight for your country?
Yes, I'm not fighting for my politicians. I'm fighting for my borders. Yes, okay. I would.
What do you mean?
So what I mean, would you fight for your country if it came to our homeland? Would you fight for it?
From a physical standpoint, like would I protect it against, would I use my guns and
yes.
Would I protect my neighbors? Yes. Would I fight for my government at this juncture? No.
I'm not saying that. I said your country. I will separate government from country.
I think it's
all the time.
My answer, like Rocky, is yes, but I think it's much more nuanced than that because I don't think I think that the lines have been blurred so much that I don't even know how to fight. I don't know how to fight for our country anymore. I think verbally is stronger, is actually more of a fight than physically because we don't know who to fight because everything is bullshit.
If we're truly know who to fight, anybody that's against us, all of us that's on the screen, my neighbors, your neighbors, all of us, anybody that is against us is against our country. Our country is against America. Anybody that wants, we want to fight for anybody that's going to come in and take anybody in our homeland and really harm us. That is what we need to protect. If we start making these complexities and this and that, then we start getting problematic. You have to start fighting for your neighbors, your friends, and your peers, because that is what country means. If we start creating all of these complexities of, well, what do you mean about government and this? No, government is not people. That is a different entity.
So if we're protecting our people, Casey, then we should be fighting the government right now.
Yep.
We are. Well, you have to. It's an info war.
Technically, it's our duty.
So it is. So you're right. So we're agreement that right now it is based on information. We are fighting the information war until it gets brought to our front step where we have to use weapons. And if we have to use weapons against our own government, that's a very scary thought.
Yes. Well, weapons versus government, I don't care. We'll still win.
It's not as I tell you something. I would be more shocked 20 years ago to learn of some of the corruption than I am now. Now it's expected. Now when I hear of corrupt acts within our political system, I'm just like, yeah, that's who we are. That's what our political system became. And I sit here, Casey, and I'm sitting here thinking that when was the last time the United States went to fight to actually liberate a country?
9/12/01.
That was a really good answer, bro. That was quick.
Every day. That day is the number one day we have had Americans back as Americans.
But it turns out what we ended up doing was actually part of a much bigger game. So yes, we had Americans' backs, but most people that went and fought in Afghanistan and all this, it was all over bullshit.
Correct.
Yep.
So it's even then it's dicey. So it's
we talked about it on Truth. We talked about it on Truth. That's why I posed the question to both you and Ian. Would 9/11 have the same presence as it would if it was happened today with the internet? No. Because there would have been so much information and misinformation, the internet would have divided everybody. But because it happened when it did, it brought everybody together because you couldn't spread the lies as quickly as you can today.
Good point. That's a very powerful weapon is our technology, bro. It is just moving too quick for us. We can't keep our minds wrapped around it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about propaganda. Trying to spread propaganda in the 50s was literally trying to go to local newspaper companies and having them print it on paper
and run it across the country on a horseback. That was it.
A click of a switch and it's global.
So then let's talk about the way the propaganda has led to the difference in the appearance of what happened at the Capitol last week. 300 people arrested. Again, $50 bail with no long-term ramifications when they actually had to leave. And this goes against what you were saying earlier, Casey, about this is a First Amendment thing, because I don't believe taking over the Capitol is legal. I agree that there was some issues with January 6th. Now, that doesn't mean to me that everybody inside of the Capitol broke the law that day. I don't believe people like Cash broke the law because there was enough police officers that were letting people in. The people at some of the gate areas that were fighting, that was illegal. That's breaking the law. Once you got inside, they were completely peaceful. They were walking in the barricades. They were
the ropes.
They were taking photos. Like the worst thing that they did was there was, go into the rooms. There was some errors at play where they went too far, et cetera. And those people should get, whatever punishment. But again, it doesn't go the other way. So the difference in the freedom of speech is what Rashida Tlaib said, which was essentially saying, this isn't a bluff. We need to act. And then several minutes later, they went into the Capitol and staged a sit-in and yelled, and 300 people got arrested. That is actually inciting a riot. That's illegal. No punishment will be for that side. And going back to it, the more research you do, Dinesh D'Souza, who I know Casey does not like, but he talked about, and he's not wrong, and we had said this years ago, talked about what happened on January 6th, when people got let in. And we did talk about, it's interesting the timing that the doors were unlocked. It's interesting that this was almost like, now, push them in now. They weren't, when people went inside misguided, they weren't stopping the electoral process. They were actually, this is why this was the perfect move for the Democrats. They get to use it in so many different ways. They used it that day because what they interrupted was, in fact, the states that wanted to actually investigate. They stopped that hearing where they were going to contest the results. So that got stopped. And because of everything going on, they had to say, screw it, let's go in. So the timing worked out perfect for the Democrats, and it's weird that the doors opened, weird who's in control, just so happens to be people more aligned with the left on letting that through. And then at the end of the day, they were able to say Republicans are crazy and insurrectionists. And here we have the exact same, not the exact same, something similar a few years later, and these people are going to get off scot-free.
Well, it's all in enforcement of the law, correct? Laws were broken. Who's going to enforce it? This is where there's a lot of questions. You have a lot of police officers or former police officers that are saying an officer's judgment. There is a lot of cause in that officer's judgment of enforcement of the law. There's cases for
a lot of dangerous gray in that comment. I wouldn't accept. Because dude, I've seen people in a corporate level use their judgment,
right?
And it turned out really bad for other people.
I agree with you, but that's the point that I'm making is we have inconsistency in the law, and a lot of it is because we have empowered people to use their judgment. And I'm not calling to have that repealed by any means. I'm calling to make sure that we are having it equally treated within courts, because courts is where all of that is upheld. And
I think I think Rocky needs to have a $50, but he needs to have whatever that illegal leg show was right there. Like, I feel like there's about to be an insurrection on his thighs. There's something very. Do you have a thigh tattoo?
Yeah, my legs are covered up. I did all my tattoos. I got like 28 tattoos, and I started on my legs.
What kind of weird shit were you into back in the day?
Most were native skulls. I got a big old boot of Italy on my thigh. Amore della familia.
Did you say native?
Yeah.
Do you have any 2S or two-spirited people tattooed all over you?
No. I don't have no two-spirited nothing in my existence.
I love Casey. I think you won that argument because Rocky decided ADHD was too much to have the battle, so he just started showing a little leg.
Well, I looked at it. I'm like, damn, that's sexy as shit. I'm showing everybody.
What? I almost had to put my sunglasses on. You might need to hang out in the sun.
Well, you ain't lying. You ain't
I'm
lying.
not gonna lie.
You know, it's been a long year. All right. Oh, it's been a long year.
Glad something else wasn't long. We saw enough thigh where if it was, we might have been seeing a little tip of the dragon. Casey, do you remember what you were saying? Because I got lost in Rocky's
No,
thighs.
I'm talking about the two insurrections. One was enforced, one was not. Now, the first one, January 6th, everybody knows I'm a big proponent. I support everything that happened. Yeah, there were some issues. Those individuals need to be held accountable. That is it. That is as far as it needs to go. But it is not on a mass scale that there's hundreds or even tens of thousands. Not at all. But when it comes to the situation that just happened, I still am not okay with going in and arresting those 300 people. I am okay with arresting the leaders that organized that and enforce those people to go in there. Well, that is who they should be held accountable.
They were arrested because they weren't listening when it was time to clear out. So they were, and if you, did you watch any of the Crowder last week?
No,
$50 bail is the least of the issues. They were put on a coach bus, air conditioned bus with TVs in it. That's how they were arrested and rounded up. And they have video. They have actual video because they had some of the undercover people. So it's like, it was so ridiculously planned, including the arrest. You know
what though? Think about this though. Think about the broader. Think about like the puppeteers, because they know this is what separates. This is what pisses off conservatives so much that we sit here and we watch them get put on a bus with AC and TVs, a $50 bail, a little slap on the hand while we're sitting here visiting and sending money to our friends in prison.
Absolutely.
This is what separates a country, is what you're talking about, this imbalance and judgment or how they decide to enforce laws.
I love David Dyer. He's one of our favorite fans. I have my issues why I don't love Crowder. I think the whole thing with his wife, little shifty, pretty bad, really bad, actually. But you said, what a shill. How is Crowder a shill? Casey, do you feel that way? I mean, I know both you and I like watching Crowder. I think his information is impeccable. I think he's the only one that does, I'm jealous of his team because they're able to get a reference on absolutely everything. But why is Crowder a shill? Because you disagree with him? Because that, I think, then you might think I'm a shill then too. Granted, I don't have money, but whatever.
Oh, you had money to be a shill?
I mean, shit. Shill 30. No, Casey, David, you can answer in the comments, but why would somebody consider Crowder a shill?
I wouldn't. A shill is a stretch, but I could possibly see it.
Well, like I don't like Levin. You know, I love his content, but I can't listen to Levin. I just can't, dude. I can't.
Why? Because he talks like he tries to be Alex Jones, and everything is yelling all the time.
I can't do it, dude. I can't.
The only thing he needs to do is start talking about turning frogs gay, and then he could be Alex Jones 2.0.
But dude, that was real.
can't. I mean, it's not wrong. Shill by definition is one who poses as a satisfied customer or as an enthusiastic gambler to dupe bystanders into participating in a swindle. So you're essentially saying he's shicey, he's swindling people out of money. I disagree with that. He provides a high level of entertainment, in my opinion. You could disagree with him. You could think he's a psyop, and because he's big on Israel and he's whatever it is. He's not a. I don't know. I don't see him. I don't see shill being the right word at all.
Why does everything always have to get down to being a psyop or?
I know. I hate that term too.
Well, Russo just used all the words to contradict each other. He said a form of entertainment, but he also looked at it as someone that does the research and provides all the facts.
I know that's what got CNN, like that's what got our news in trouble, is it turned into entertainment. But he provides an comedy, the Trojan horse of truth. He provides entertainment that gets people to actually also see what's going on. He has comedy and entertainment, and on top of it, he has, to me, in a 1 hour show, more facts than anybody else I can watch. Whereas like a Bongino, I do like parts of Bongino, but there's times he uses the fear factor, and he is that to me is more shill-like. If you were to really do that. But again, that's just me. By the way,
but order my book.
Before we get done with the episode, by the way, speaking of book, I've got my tomorrow I've got my final meeting, and I'll let everybody know where to pre-order the book. I have a bunch here. I'm trying to figure out the right marketing way because I need to be an Amazon bestseller, and that's all weird things. But I'll talk about that before we have the last 10 minutes of the show. Make sure you check out all of our sponsors. We've got Century H2O on the bottom of the screen. You can see it, code Russo10. That's the water that I drink all episode, which, by the way, I have to piss like a racehorse. I cannot wait for 9 minutes. I'm thinking about actually pissing in the bottle that I have. Though it's a filter, goes underneath your sink, adds magnesium, takes away everything from your water. Those filters actually last, I double checked, over a year. $300 for the whole thing after the discount. Russo10. What's next, Rocky?
And then we got Verve. This is what you guys want. You know, that whole viral thing that goes around, the colds and all that other stuff.
Herpes.
Go get your Verve
spray
vitamin. Try it. Just spray it on there and see what happens. But energy, cold, daily sleep, multivitamin, everything, 80% absorption rate compared to 20 to 30% with the pills. Use code R&R and get 30% off. Come on, get busy after the show.
Next up, we've got everybody's favorite pillow. Where is it? Let's see it. MyPillow.com, as Rocky talks about. He could not sleep after he got out of prison unless there was a big name man named Brutus behind him, or he was using some of the MyPillow stuff. It'll be the greatest sleep you've ever had. Use code Meatball for that to get your discount. Again, MyPillow.com. Use code Meatball to get that discount.
And of course, shout out to everybody over there at Spreely TV and Opslens, man. Opslens family. We're live on Facebook right now, man. Make sure you're here Mondays and Wednesdays, 7:00 Central. Put it down, write it in your books, watch for the advertising. Opslens, Spreely.tv. But look at, boys, look at this.
Is that a blanket?
No.
Oh, is that a robe? That's the robe.
This is the freaking robe. Yeah, it is a blanket technically, but this thing is a beast. This is the robe. I wear it, and my balls flying them. It's pretty cool. I make music.
Do you have the slippers yet?
I do. I do.
You do. Do you swear by them?
The slippers.
I swear by them. I will wear them to the store.
Where's my slippers, Rocky? I still.
Well, you guys, both got. I think. What are they sending you guys? Slippers, pillows, and a robe.
I want underwear. I want terry cloth underwear.
I do.
I can just make it out of the thing. It's fine. So keep this one up there because we got the Celebrity Softball Classic we'll talk about. But Thomas Becker said, my wife hangs out on foxnews.com. So I watched a clip today. And again, this is where the argument started. Casey thinks it's propaganda, but I thought it was a very interesting statement regarding it was a survivor. Casey, do you believe that was an actual survivor? Or do you think it was all propagated?
No, I believe she's a survivor. I have nothing to say that she's not. I don't like the way that it was proposed and everything that the anchor has posed questions and how they set things up. It was all set up. Oh, and I'm sure you watch the news a lot to stay up on everything. No one wants to watch you to stay up on everything over there because you're not telling the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was to me the least of the issues. I didn't think it was actually that bad of an interview by Fox. So what happened was this girl was at the festival. She had driven in. She had Israeli friends that were part of the IDF. I think it was interesting that she butted back against them when they're like, do you think that you survived because you had some friends that had served, which pretty much it's everybody there. And she goes, no, because a lot of people that died, everybody really has to serve as they're going, and people died either way. And there was a guy in a white truck that just hauled them out of there. And some of the areas they find out later that she was in with the porta potties, they had shot up just minutes after. I mean, it's a pretty crazy experience. If she's making it up, that's nuts. But I'm pretty, I will be one where you have to believe something, and I believed her. And I think the most interesting thing, and this is again part of the reason why I am very firmly on the Israel stance on this, is they're under constant attack. But the thing is, they've got some really great systems. So she was talking about how earlier that morning there was missiles that were intercepted overhead, and her friends from the IDF come up to her and says, don't be afraid. This is pretty normal. It's what they face. And she goes, holy shit, in Israel, they're constantly dealing with these attacks coming from, where do you think? Gaza. Normally, I mean, that's where it's coming from. And she's just simply saying this is the life that they lead, and they're just used to it, and they believe in their defenses enough. And then all of a sudden shit hit the fan that morning, and she explained the situation and the fact that some people did not make it out that day that she saw. And I think it's just all part of what side you take. And some of the other arguments, I've made the case where I'm wrong. I'm admitting wrong. It is, Gaza is an open air prison, but I also have admitted the fact that it has to be, because of what is being faced by the Israeli people. And I again, it's an issue of Hamas. It's an issue of both being corrupt governments. But at the end of the day, my question becomes, like I said, the reason you have those checkpoints is because you can't really tell the difference, unfortunately, not their fault necessarily, between a Palestinian and between a jihad bomber, Hamas, or whatever it might be. So if you can't tell the difference, it's just a really bad, shitty situation. And until the people have to stand up against their own people, they're gonna have to understand why they're under attack. And Rocky, last thing, waters.
Yeah.
Nobody's threatened. No other country has threatened them. They're not opening their borders because the same reason why it's an open air prison, because they don't know who's good and who's bad.
Nobody
and that
wants
is the unfortunate issue in that region with Palestine, which with unfortunately a large part, and by large I mean over 5%, which is large with a large amount of people, of Islam. It's a problem. The religion is a problem. They don't believe that anybody else should have any freedoms. That's the problem.
If you get rid of Pakistanis, there will be another faction of people that are victim to something that are going to want territory of Israel or Jerusalem or whatever it may be. Another thing too is that it's the same people defending the Palestinians. What do they say about Hezbollah on the northern border that has been attacking Israel from the northern side? Because, what's their victimization? Because they didn't get no land taken away from them. So why do we not talk about them equally as we do Hamas?
They don't care.
They don't care. It's bullshit. And you're right. They cherry pick what they want to be pissed off over.
David Dyer, you don't like his comedy. I think he's hilarious. That's the unfortunate thing behind how crappy he was to his wife, is I think that, David Dyer responded, it's not good comedy. He works off his writers talking about Steven Crowder. I think he's brilliant. That's the unfortunate thing. So again, being a shill just means is a wrong word. You just don't like Crowder, which is fine. You're entitled to that opinion.
I want writers.
Really quick, Rocky, on good news, I did not tell you, as of right now, it seems like the 2 games that we are going to are locked in 2 weeks. So it's looking more Stillwater-ish. But at the same time, I should be able to make it to the Celebrity Softball Classic by 3:30 if I drive fast enough. That's what's looking like.
No pressure.
Yeah,
bro.
don't do that. Last time you did that, you rear-ended a parked car.
No, I did not. I sideswiped a guy parked in the middle of my lane, to be very clear.
You should have stayed out of your lane, and what had ever happened?
Yeah, stay in your lane, Casey. Oh, and the last thing, as for the 30th, which is going to be that event, the charity event in Houston, I will be driving straight from Omaha this weekend. So I will do my best to leave Sunday night and make it by Monday. What time do we start on Monday with that?
Oh, shoot. It'll be like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. It's early.
It's going to be a hell of a day. We'll talk about it later, but that's just what's going on, because I'm going to Lawrence, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk. That's my plan this weekend. We also have Truth Will Set You Free tomorrow night, and then another one of this on Wednesday. Rocky, take us home.
Hey, don't forget, folks, November 4th, CelebritySoftballClassic.org. Get on over there. If you can't make the game, donate. We are giving away $200,000 to over 20 different nonprofit organizations to special needs and veteran communities. CelebritySoftballClassic.org. Ladies and gentlemen, KC, you have Brother Anthony, Rocky Stucci, The Rocky Russo Experience right here, Spreely TV, Odyssey Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, from our family to yours, much love, much respect until Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central. We'll catch you then. Good night, everybody.
I feel like they need to donate the part of the $200,000 to get Rocky a full pair of pants.
Dude, my balls kind of hurt right now.
Oh, God.
Or a tanning subscription.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Self-tanner.